Right now, I'm joined by some line-backing beasts. I'm talking about LaVar Arrington, my guy, and Seth Joyner in the house, who just told me he shoots in the 70s in golf. I can't believe him, but looking at him, I might should. All right, y'all, let's start up today talking about Colin Kaepernick, big dog, who may finally have some momentum building for a comeback. Earlier this week, Roger Goodell said he would encourage teams to sign Kaepernick. And now Chargers head coach Anthony Lynn says Cap is on their workout list and has some nice things to say about the long unemployed quarterback. So, Seth, you think the Chargers are really interested in Cap?
I heard two words, confident and happy. That tells me that they're not really interested in Cap. That's just Anthony Lynn towing the NFL line that Roger Goodell says, hey, we made a mistake. They didn't say, hey, we made a mistake with Cap. They said we made a mistake not listening to our players. But when I hear what he just said, they have no interest in Kaepernick unless one of those three guys that they got on their roster gets injured.
I tend to agree with you, Seth. I'm wondering why this continues to be it's a conversation because it's Kaepernick. It's being discussed because of the current state that our society has found itself in. Let's be clear and 100% on point with saying what we're saying right now as it applies to why Colin Kaepernick continues to dominate the conversations within the sports realm. They're not really interested, but they're interested in having the conversation. You're not going to run away from the conversation if it's brought up to you. You're not going to brush it off. You're not going to dismiss it. And you're going to entertain it. Why? Because you know what? There's always the chance. There's always the possibility. But you mentioned comfortable and confident, Seth. I heard him sit there and say, I don't know where he is in his career. Like, what head coach sits there and does an interview and says, I don't really know where he is at this point in his career, but, you know, it would be interesting to possibly entertain him, even though I'm confident and happy and content with the three, not two. He said three. Most teams carry two quarterbacks, just so y'all up on game. So, listen, is there a genuine interest? I think there's a genuine interest to try to state what Colin Kaepernick's situation is in a I don't know, a sensitive manner. How about that? But other than that, I don't see it.
Damned if you don't, damned if you do. Woo, y'all went deep on this one. And I hate to do this to my guy, Anthony Lynn, and do it to my team. Y'all know I'm a Chargers fan. Got 8 season tickets, no hookups, no discounts. I bought them as a fan and as a thank you for the big contract. Let's get real about Kaepernick because we know what's going on right here. Coach had to talk out of both sides of his mouth. One side, which is respectful to the organization and their true plans, and one side respecting today's current climate and how everyone has to now show at least an interest in what's going on in our streets and in our society, which I know that Anthony Lynn's heart is in the right place, but I don't expect a plan of action to come from this. Colin Kaepernick will not be a L.A. Charger. Daniel Roper, the athletics beat writer for the Chargers, puts this at 1% in terms of Colin Kaepernick being on the roster. I think that's too high. I give it donuts. Colin Kaepernick will not be on the Chargers roster for many of the reasons you guys just named. Like, where's he going to fit? Think about it. You drafted 6 overall, and you had Justin Herbert on your team. So he's going to be your eventual starter, even though Tyrod's going to start right now. So we already know 1 and 2 is locked in because Tyrod, as a backup, is the perfect professional in that role, and his talent is greater than being a backup. So you got 1 and 2 already slotted. Now we got to go to the third one. And if you start talking about the third guy, what's his name? Easton Stick? Okay, whoever. But it's not about Easton Stick. It's about, is Colin Kaepernick going to be third string on the L.A. Chargers? No damn way. So let me take off my broadcasting hat, my analyst hat, and put on my publicist hat. Because the only way this story really has juice is if you look at it through the lens of a publicist. Now, let's go back to the Chargers a couple years ago when they were in San Diego. And they took a drive up the 5 freeway, 2-hour drive, and doubled their net worth. Wow. Who doesn't take that drive? So they relocate. They almost got screwed out of the relocation and stadium deal. Remember that? NFL had to step in. They come to a LA fan base that went from one day having 0 teams to 2 teams, and then they stick them in a Texas high school football stadium, and then all the fans who want to go to LA for a vacation take over the stadium because it's sunny Southern California, and they get to see some football, and then they all of a sudden start to take this PR hit, and they become a laughingstock. And you fast forward to this offseason, look what's happening. They're in a stadium that is $2 billion over budget, that won't have any fans potentially in it, and is a year late in opening. And ticket sales are a little slow, a little sluggish, they say, despite me buying 8 of them. So here's the thing. If you're a publicist sitting in that round table meeting, you got a different perspective of touching the Colin Kaepernick subject than maybe the head coach does, than maybe the owner does, maybe the head of marketing does, head of community relations does. So I just think right now what we just witnessed was a lot of different mindsets about one player that I don't see ever being on their roster.
Oh, you know, if Roger Goodell doesn't come out with that statement, we're not even talking about Colin Kaepernick right now, to be honest with you. So a lot of that stems from that alone. If we just look at the football side of this, and, you know, that's where I lean more than anything else. If I look at the football side of it, let's look at the quarterbacks that are on their roster. Let's take this Eastern stick out of the equation, okay? Justin Aber, everyone's trying to figure out if this kid is going to develop and how fast he will develop. Given his draft slot, they got to play him at some point. You've got your interim quarterback and Tyrod Taylor. What we know about Tyrod is going to take care of the ball. He's going to be efficient, but he's not going to take chances to throw the ball in tight windows and make the type of plays that can get you where you want to go. Could Cap be a good fit here? I would say yes, strictly from a competition standpoint, because I want as many guys as I can to compete, because the cream always rises to the top. So if you're trying to build a team that can win, then you want that competition. If someone's scared of the competition, then they're in the wrong job. Now, from a PR standpoint, I asked in my podcast yesterday, hey, guys, can Colin come back after 4 years of not being in the league and play? Question number 1. Question number 2, is this a good move for the NFL? I say yes, because from a PR standpoint and the current climate that we find ourselves in, and the fact that we've ignored Colin Kaepernick for 4 years, this is a move that some team in the NFL is going to make. It's either going to be, you know, the Jacksonville Jaguars, the Tennessee Titans, the Minnesota Vikings, a team like that where he can come in and raise the level of competition and make somebody either step up or step off.
You know, just to add to what you guys are saying PR-wise and looking at competition and can Kaepernick do it, here's a reality check. The business of pro sports is to sell tickets, is to get viewership, is to grow fan base. This is how every player is looked at. Hello? We're asking, is there a genuine interest in Kaepernick? Yes, there is a genuine interest, all right? Let's not, you know, kind of mix up and confuse the topic of conversation here. As a player, I don't see a true, valid, real interest. As a person that can be on my roster, can sell tickets, can sell goodwill, can sell hope, can bring in a tremendous following, that's any player, people. Okay, so when we're sitting here and we're having this conversation about Colin Kaepernick and the unique situation that's surrounding him, yes, the racially driven deals that have followed him losing his ability to have a career in the NFL based off of his protests, That's why we're here with Colin Kaepernick. But these are conversations that are not unique to Colin Kaepernick. You're going to have those conversations about any free agent that is out there. Is this free agent that has a name? I mean, if you don't think that they had that same conversation about Tom Brady before they pulled the trigger on bringing him to Tampa Bay, you're kidding yourself. If you're not thinking that somebody right now is measuring and weighing, can we get ticket sales? Can we get excitement if we bring in Cam Newton? You're kidding yourself. This is what the game is built and based on. So let's not move into this realm of deception where it's like, oh my gosh, are they really interested in Cap now or what have you? Like, reality check, people. This is how they pick and choose some of their players. Sometimes fame and popularity will outweigh your skill and what it is you bring to the table talent-wise as a player.
Way to break down the supposed meritocracy. I used to tell cats all the time, oh, you're not seeing the best 11 on the field. You're seeing probably 7 of the best, and then the other 4 is some kind of mix between contract situations and how much you owe the guy, likability, is he cheaper to keep him in the situation? It's so many other factors as you brought up, and I'm going to bring up the clout. Like, it's right now, the momentum is to touch this subject and to make change. We're living in a world right now where I woke up and you can't even have pancakes anymore. Aunt Jemima's gone. 130 years of Aunt Jemima, and she is gone. Guess what is not going to go away? You're not dismissing Colin Kaepernick and his message anymore. Now, you may dismiss the player, but you ain't dismissing the cause that he stood for. So you got to understand, and I'm glad LaVar pointed that out because I think a lot of times that gets conflated. That said, you also brought up Tom Brady. And Tom Brady is an interesting case study for this situation. Because Tom Brady was this damn close to being an LA Charger. Y'all remember that? And instead, he goes to Tampa Bay, which is, by the numbers, the lowliest franchise in sports history. Like, even the Clippers are looking like Tampa Bay, like, ooh, struggle. But now they are at the top in terms of off-season Q rating and season ticket sales and jersey sales. Why? Because they brought in somebody with that clout. I don't know how much Brady has left in the tank, but they brought him in for the clout. And I think that's why Anthony Lynn, pure in heart and his intentions of really respecting Colin Kaepernick and his sacrifice, is also like, I'm going to be real. He's not on the schedule to be worked out, but he's on the runway. You know who else is on the runway? A gang of dudes. How many times we used to go by our facilities on Tuesdays and see a gang of dudes just working out? Every week. And then every now and then, it'd be the homie.
That you
like,
knew.
oh, you get a shot?
Right.
That you knew.
Yes.
In your locker.
This is routine. This is routine.
In your locker.
Say, yeah, we're going to work them out. And using your locker, and you're like, all right, brother. So the point of this is, I don't want anyone to get their hopes up. And don't think that Anthony Lynn and the Chargers are being disingenuous. They really want to do something positive here. It's just they're not going to go to a place to put a player who's 4 years removed from playing football on their roster based on what they have in terms of personnel.